Nothing. Yeah, it's the only thing going on in my head. Yeah. Zoe,
what's up?
How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah.
You know,
having an eventful 2 weeks.
I did have an eventful 2 weeks. It's been quite the ride. Mm-hmm. You know, I vowed. I'm vowed. Fuck me. I vowed that I was gonna stop going out in December until New Year's Eve. Ooh. And I've failed miserably because I've literally been out every weekend, sometimes during the week. I was actually out just last night. So
gallivanting.
Yeah, gallivanting the fucking shitty streets of Toronto.
The shitty streets.
Yeah, because I got a story. Again, obviously, everyone's like, oh my God, she can tell stories, like what's new. And I'm like, maybe people are going to get tired of me telling fucking how terrible it is. People are going to be like, this girl talks about how terrible it is to party in Toronto, yet she still continues to party in fucking Toronto. But the story that I'm going to tell is a little bit more interesting because I was actually invited out this time by someone that I think is special.
Oh, yeah? Why is he special?
We're not going to do all that.
I don't even know if he's a he. You didn't really specify that
It
either.
is a he.
Okay.
But
this is all right.
The point is...
Special guy.
Toronto is just... especially, like I said, I can talk about the Toronto club scene being racist until I'm blue in the face. And people are like... people are probably like, well, if it's so racist, why do you still go out?
Because we deserve a good time. We still should... That shouldn't... I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... One thing I'll say, it's not every time. It's not every time. But the times that they are, I feel like I need to talk about it. And I really only go out under certain circumstances. Like if I'm invited or if it's like a certain event that I know the people that are hosting and I know it's not going to be like a weird... like just like a random Saturday night. Like I'm not going to the club on a random Saturday night the way I used to.
There needs to be intent in purpose.
Yeah,
when I need a booth.
Yeah. And I know that sounds pretentious, but like I'm not going to the club anymore without a booth. Toronto has turned into that. Toronto has turned into booth culture when you go to the club.
No dance.
No one's going to the club just to bubble and dance anymore. Like that's not a thing.
Funny enough, one of our former guests, Mucho, made a TikTok about this, and you could pretty much put all this blame on the Vince Carter.
It is on to Vince Carter because Vince Carter is the one who brought bottle service to Toronto, right? Even though that was how many years ago? Like way before.
Over 20 years ago.
Exactly, way before our clubbing days. But the fact that it's picked up and literally only gotten worse, that's it. So with me, I don't go to the club on like a random, Saturday night, like a Friday night like I used to. But if... Also
though, like isn't that like the age we're getting? Like I felt like it was more of a younger, like when we're... maybe 19, 22, where you can go out and not have a booth, and you'll still have a good time. I feel like we've just gotten, like, the older we get, you can't deal with all that nonsense. Yeah, because
now it's like if I'm going out, like I want a booth, and not even a booth for the bottles. I want a place to fucking sit.
Yeah.
I want a place to be comfortable. I want a place to put my bag. I want a place to, put my coat if I don't want to wait in the coat check line. Like it's convenience now, and I'm really not going to the club to like dance the way I used to. I will dance in the section with my drink, but I'm not like going hard like I used to. I'm just kind of there to just like, take some steam off from the week. But story time of how terrible this city is once again. So, like I said, this is funny because
it correlates with other stories.
It correlates with so many other stories and topics that I've spoken about.
Like, damn, this keeps happening to you.
Yeah, and the thing is, I literally made a tweet. I was like, if people knew the predicaments that I get myself into almost monthly, bi-weekly, whatever the case is, they'd be like, Zoe, what the fuck? Like, how do you... I'm going to tell the podcast a very censored version of this story. But when I told, like, you and, like, my close friends the story, they were like, bro, how the fuck?
Y'all start demanding a Patreon, we'll give you those uncensored stories. All right?
Yeah, y'all gonna have to really start paying me for like these uncensored stories. But
go on, yeah.
This one, I'm gonna try to make it as censored as possible.
But there's layers. We're gonna need to dissect a few pieces.
And the root of the story is, once again, women of color and especially black women, are always overlooked in these spaces.
Different treatment.
the treatment that we get is crazy in these spaces, not only all the time, but it like skyrockets when there's celebrities or, you know, very known people that they're accommodating. So anyways, like I said, I'm gonna make this story very censored because I do not want to incriminate myself, but so I'm not gonna say recently, there was a recently-ish, right? I mean,
we only recorded 2 weeks ago, so.
Oh, shut up. Anyways.
People know the increments of time here. I mean, so, like, people can put 2 and 2 together.
Okay, recently-ish, Recently-ish, I came into contact with someone that I surprisingly have had a crush on for a really long time. Fuck off. Anyways.
Plot thickens.
I've had a crush on this particular person for quite some time, right? This person is,
Zoe's not the only one that has a crush on this guy. I can tell you that right now.
I'm definitely not the only woman in the world who's crushes man. But also, this man, he's not ideally in my reach, like at all. Okay.
So you mean he's like almost out of like...
He is.
He's out of your... I won't.
He's not out of my league. He's not out of my league.
Is that how you... I don't think that, but is that how you felt about this man?
I did think that like I would not be acknowledged by him.
On his radar.
Yeah, I definitely would. Because to me, he is out of reach based on his status. Right?
Moments like this too, so yeah.
Yeah, I think to me he was out of reach based on his status and his lifestyle and what he does for a living. To me, it was like, this is not something that I thought would ever come about. But
interesting.
It did, right?
It happened.
Yeah, nothing happened, but him and I got into contact. Okay. Right? Okay. I found out that he was going to be in Toronto for something that he was doing. And I said, wow, okay, so now that you know, we are in contact, which is so crazy to me. Like, this is cool. Him and I, like him, the contact is crazy to me. Like, how we got into contact is fucking nuts. I'm not even really gonna talk about it. But anyways, point is, you know, we were messaging each other. You know, like I said, he was coming to Toronto to do something, and we were messaging each other, blah, blah, blah. He asked, you know, like where is there to go in the city on a specific night? And I gave some suggestions, right? I literally suggested a club because I heard that club was good on that night. So I said, you know, maybe you should go here, right? So he's like, okay, like I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna talk to each other a little bit later. Maybe we can meet up, whatever. Cool. Time goes by, blah, blah, blah. We start talking, you know, I hit him up, you know, just like, you know, what did you decide to do? Blah, blah, blah. He decides he's gonna go to this club. The club that I literally suggested to him.
So he took your recommendation.
I don't know if he took my recommendation. I'm sure he has other people in the city who do research for him or plan shit out where he wants to show his face publicly. But point is, one of the club that I suggested was where he ended up going.
Sounds like he was like, okay, she's going to be there. So I'm...
Don't do that. Anyways, he said that he was going to go to that club. I said, okay, cool. You know what? I'll pull up with my girls too. He said, bet. I'm like, I'll let you know when I'm there. I'll link you. Right? Cool. I go to the club. And my girl, one of the girls that I went with, Bianca, she was on the show. I went with two of my girls. Bianca was one of them. And what's it called? You know, we're in the club and we're in one of my friends' girls section, right? Or one of my girls' friends section. We're in the section, blah, blah, just chilling, drinking, blah, blah. The guy that I was messaging, the guy who, my crush, right? He walks to the clubs, right? And I'm like, okay, perfect. So I'm like, I'm going to message him, you know, when I'm going to go see him. So, you know, I'm like, oh, like, I see you, you know, whatever. And he's like, come say hi. I'm like, okay, cool. Obviously, based on his status, he has security, right? Cool, no problem. I've done this before thousands of times. So that sounded really bad. No, anyways, so I go now, like I said, he literally says, come say hi. I'm literally messaging this man in real time. And he's not like keeping me on red, like he's responding, right? So I'm like, oh, I see you. He says, come say hi. Literally within like a second, he's like, come say hi. I'm like, okay, cool. So I tell my girls, I'm like, yo, he's telling me to come to the section, so let's go. We walk up now to security, And obviously security's being security, like girls, what's up, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, before I can even get a fucking word out, this fucking loser, and he was a white man, fucking loser promoter guy comes out. He's like, oh, hold on, blah, blah. He's like, you know what? No.
Promoter?
No.
Sorry?
I'm pretty sure he was a promoter.
Not a security guard.
No, this guy was not a security guard. I'm pretty sure he was like a promoter or something, but he was fucking whack. He was a white guy, super like not nice, like just asshole, dickhead. Yep. Comes out, he's like, oh, no, blah, blah, blah. He's like, he's like, let in her, pointing to all these girls behind us, right? I'm with one of my friends who's biracial and another my friend who is Asian.
I need to hold like this.
So we're all women of color.
This, like, you have almost a United Nations trio of you two.
You're an idiot.
Like, you have a dark-skinned woman, a light-skinned woman, and an Asian woman, right?
Yeah.
Like, exceptionally beautiful women too. Like, this is, I think it's absolutely baffling.
We came diverse.
This is one of the most baffling parts of the story, at least for me, is the fact that these three women were not getting, there's white girls getting chose before you three. That is crazy to me.
Yeah. So what's it called? He points you. He's like bringing her. All white girls. And they're behind us, right? So my friends, rightfully so, get offended. Mm-hmm. They're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, did he just like and I'm not everybody's type. You know what I mean? And I never claim to be everybody's type. But in my head, I'm like, yo, before I could even get my word out to tell you that I was invited in by the person you're doing all this hoopla for,
he's already trying to
you want to put me on this like back burner, like, oh, well, we're not letting in none of these girls. And mind you, all the girls I also see in the booth are all white blonde girls, right? Almost all of them. Not one woman of color was in there until I got in. So at first I was like, all right, that was fucking rude. And my friends were pissed. They're like, bro, I'm not fucking doing this shit. Like, that was really rude. Like, no, like, fuck it. I'm not even trying to go in there, whatever. They end up leaving. And I'm like, okay, fine, fuck it. I leave with them. But then I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like, I was literally invited, like, he literally told me to come to him. So why the fuck am I let this fucking douchebag try to regulate like my invitation? Fuck that. So I went back to security. I'm like, bro, I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I was literally invited into this section. And he goes, by who? And I tell him the name. And the fucking security made me show him.
They didn't believe you at first.
It's like, yo, they didn't believe that a black woman could be talking, or the guy that the man of status that's in the section would not even dare. You would not dare to speak to this girl.
That's fucked up.
So I literally had to like scroll. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm literally like messaging him as we speak. And then I'm like, go ask him if it's that big of a deal. So then he turns around to like ask him like, oh, like, do you know her? And he's like, yeah. He's like, send her in. And I was like, but none of these girls, you didn't question none of the bitches behind me who I promise you he does not. Actually, I'm not going to promise you. I'm almost sure, because him and I had a conversation about it after. Because I told him, like, bro, I'm like, to get in here was actual bullshit. I was like, and even my friend brought it up. She was like, you really just have like all these white girls in your section. He was like, I never asked for any of these girls to be in here. He was like,
checked like the location. And
yeah, he was like, I literally never asked for any of these girls to be in here. He was like, the guy who apparently works for the club or whatever just brought girls in. These are all the girls that he chose. And I was like, well, that's really fucked up. Like, really fucked up. And out of maybe like 15 girls in the booth, me and my two friends were the only women of color in there. And I think maybe one other girl.
And
literally,
because you've had so many stories that go like this, and then like we post a story and then there's people that are like skeptical or don't believe you, and it's like this. It's disgusting how often this happens to you, Zoe. Because it doesn't add up, it doesn't math.
It's crazy, and it's like I said, it's like I'm not begging to be in this space. Yeah. I'm not.
You were actually asked to be in this space.
I was literally asked. Yeah. The conversation went, I messaged him, I said, I see you, LOL. He literally said, come say hi. And when I try to come and speak to my crush, when I try to go say hi, niggas looking at me like, ugh, there's no way he wanted you to come say hi. Like, what the fuck does that mean? But he wanted that bitch to go say hi? What?
I think it's good to know at least that this guy wasn't on that bullshit.
Yeah, but it's also mind-boggling. It's
promoter like, staff and all that,
it's so
right?
weird to me because it's like, oh, like he's a black man, right? So it's like it's almost like it's such a crazy thought that a black man would want to entertain a black woman or is talking to a black woman because he's of this status or whatever. It's like, no way he could be messaging you. You also overlooked my friend who's also beautiful, who's biracial, my other friend who's also beautiful and Asian. You overlooked them too because like, oh no. Like, no.
And then it's like, Toronto has this reputation for being this melting pot and everything, but then it's like the high profile people come through and it's just Lauren van der Schlutz, all throughout.
No, but actually, and to me it was just like, I'm
getting rid of Becky. It's now Lauren van der Schlutz.
No, Lauren van der Schlutz
is the generic
it's just, it was really mind-boggling to me that I had to jump through hoops to get into this section, even though I was literally invited to the section. And it was funny because, like I said, him and I were DMing before, so when I got in the section, I went to go talk to him and like say hi, whatever. I gave him a hug, blah, blah, blah. Him and I were like drinking and I was pouring him shots, we were whatever, like kicking it up. And one of the girls turns to me and she goes, "Do you know him?" And I'm like,
"Why are you here?"
I didn't even answer her. And she was like, "Are you like friends with him or something?" And I was like, "What? Why the fuck are you asking me that? Like, why are you asking me that?" Because what, I'm interacting with him, and because I'm interacting with him, that we must be friends. He couldn't have just met me tonight and wanted to talk to me.
They're thinking this. It's so disturbing how everybody is on the same page except for you three.
Right?
How the white girls, the promoters, everybody has this in their head that no, these girls, they're not up to that standard. How would you even know this guy? And they're asking you these questions. Like, that's crazy that they have this. Those white girls have the same mentality as those fucking club promoters.
Like, why are you asking me if I know him, if I'm friends with him? Why don't you ask that fucking girl if she knows him? She's been fucking trying to like jump to his neck all night. Why don't you ask her if she's friends with him or if she knows him? Why are you asking me that?
And it's also like you're saying about like the white girls. It's very like, I can imagine. It's cool to know that he wasn't like, he isn't impressed by all that kind of stuff. Because I would imagine if I was in that situation, I'd feel like a mandingo, Like you have all these like white girls that are clamoring over you, not because of who you are, your status and everything. So it's like, it's very, when you paint this picture.
I'm sure some of those girls didn't even know who the fuck he was.
Exactly.
And then they just kind of like,
you kind of told me about an exchange where these girls don't know.
They don't know like who he was. And it was also like, they probably just didn't even know like what he does or what he's done, or they probably just be like, oh, he looks important, or the way the club is moving, he looks like he's famous or he's important. That's literally what it was. Or I might have seen him here at this time or doing this.
Yeah.
But I promise you, most of those girls did not know what he was, what he does, anything.
I've always felt like.
But I was made, someone who actually knows about him was made to feel like the outsider.
That's very unfortunate, and it's just another testament to the nasty, ugly like club culture that we have. And it's just like, it's making me almost uncover some suppressed memories of just Toronto club culture and the way it's actually kind of shaped me. Like, I've realized growing up, being a black person that isn't high profile like this guy you're describing, like why my clubbing experiences are so shitty. And I'm also like seeing how it blended over into my real life. I'm realizing I didn't develop a good taste in sneakers, in shoes, and know the sneaker game and everything like that, because they wouldn't let you in the club with like sneakers or Jordans and stuff like that.
Really? Is that how you think? That's how you think?
Back in like growing, like at least when I was like a youth, first old enough to be able to get in the club, or even before that when we had like fake IDs and stuff. I just remember you needed Aldo shoes to be able to get into the club.
Yeah, like loafers.
And I just remember it fucked up my whole perception on like what nice shoes were, and like and then there's like the whole fashion trends too. There was just there was two shows at Massey Hall, Majid Jordan and Mustafa the Poet. They had a no bag policy, metal detectors and everything for Mustafa the Poet, then nothing, like very little security presence for Majid Jordan. Majid Jordan being a white guy, Mustafa, being from that cut. So it's just it's deep, especially with our city. It goes farther than just the club dynamic. Just nightlife in general, big venues. It seems to be this universal thing, and it sucks because it feels like we're always the entertainment. We're the people, that they come to see, and yet you get a full invitation from the man, and still that's how you're getting treated. You know? I don't know. It's nasty. Toronto needs to fix up in that sense.
And the thing is, like, I've talked about this so many times. And like I said, I can talk about it until I'm blue in the face. But it's like people genuinely don't understand, like, this shit happens all the time. And, like, it's literally only getting worse. Only getting worse. Like, why is it that you think that a black man can come visit whatever city he's in, but no, let's not bring him any black women, you know, white women only? Or, like I can't even take light skin because there were not even really any light skin women in there.
Yeah.
My friend was the only light-skinned girl in there.
That's crazy because usually there's at least
right?
light-skinned women.
Like, it was basically like, bro, like literally like white girls only. And I was really like, God damn. Like, really?
That's nasty.
Like, to me, it's like, bro, I'm like, was this weird-ass fucking promoter? Like, were you bringing girls in for you? Or were you bringing girls in for him?
Well, that's the thing. They're using their metric of what they think are girls they should bring around high-profile people.
Yeah.
So that ends up being white girls. Yeah, he's using his preference. No, he doesn't know, like, what that high-profile guy likes.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's ridiculous.
So,
I got you, though. Don't worry. I also think it's why... It's so funny. They don't even know why we're laughing. But I think it's why it's important for... we've talked about black events in the city, you know? There's a woman, I believe her name is Rebecca, that throws a lot of these events in Toronto.
Right.
I've seen her on Twitter kind of explain, you know, why that's so important because of the way we get treated when we go to the white spaces.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we have more black club promoters, people curating events and owning spaces. You know, Drake just opened a venue.
Yeah.
History, I think it's called, or something. So
which is like for concerts and shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
I think that's very important, and we need more of that.
We definitely need more than that. Like, way more than that. But it's very weird. And even with, like, Rebecca is known for, and she makes it very obvious that, like, her parties are catered for black people, and her parties are to create a safe space where black people can go and have fun and not be worried about security or not be able to get into the club based on how they're dressed or not be able to get a booth because of whatever the case may be. Like, that is her niche, which I think is really respectable, and I think that's something that she's done very well and made a name for herself in the city for doing that. But it's like, we shouldn't even have to do that. You know, we shouldn't have to, like, go against the grain. We shouldn't have to make spaces for us that we feel safe in to go out and have a good time in the cities that we were born and raised in, literally. Yeah. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, there's literally mainly nowhere, like, mainstream that black people can go to or want to go to without feeling like, ugh, it's going to be one of those nights. Yeah, on a regular basis, unless, like I said, it's an event hosted by black people or it's like this special thing. But yeah,